Hi, I'm Mindy Street, Director of Development at the J and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. This fall, the Googe Center launched its Intermission Fund, a new campaign to help support our innovative virtual programs and online engagement opportunities. Many of these programs, like our K-12 virtual school performances, our Talk Back Thursday conversation series, and GPAC Live, were created especially for you to keep you connected to the Googe Center and to the performing arts during these unprecedented times. By giving to the Intermission Fund, you can have a direct and meaningful impact on these programs and help continue our mission to celebrate and share the performing arts with audiences until we're able to reunite here at the Googe Center. To make your gift to the Intermission Fund, visit our website at googecenter.auburn.edu. You can also visit aub.ie/intermission. That's aub.ie/intermission. On behalf of everyone at the Googe Center, I'd like to thank you for watching and for your continued support for the arts at Auburn.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Collette, Development Officer at the J and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. If you've seen a performance at the Walter Stanley and Virginia Catherine Evans Waltos Theater, you know there isn't a bad seat in the house. But we like to think the very best seat is the one with your name on it. With an investment of $2,000, you can add your name to a seat right here in the beautiful Waltos Theater. Your customized seat plaque will forever connect you to this landmark venue and serve as a lasting testament to your support for the arts at Auburn. And if you're looking for a great holiday gift this season, seats can be inscribed to honor friends and family members, to memorialize loved ones, or to celebrate Auburn alumni, graduates, and fellow classmates. Ready to name a seat and leave a legacy? Visit our website today at googecenter.auburn.edu. You can also visit aub.ie/GPAC seat. That's aub.ie/GPAC seat.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jonathan Osborne. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications here at the Jay and Susie Gouge Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. And on behalf of everyone at the Gouge Center, I'd like to welcome you to the beautiful Waltos Theater. Thank you guys so much for being here this evening. And thank you especially for joining us for the second annual State of the City Address presented this evening by the Honorable Ron Anders, the Mayor of the City of Auburn, the great City of Auburn, I should say. So please join me now in welcoming Mayor Pro Tempore and Ward 3 Councilperson Beth Whitten.
Good evening and welcome to the Mayor's second annual State of the City Address. I'm Beth Whitten, as Jonathan stated, and I represent Ward 3 on the City Council of Auburn and serve as Mayor Pro Tem. This is my 6th year on the council and my 2nd year under Ron's leadership. And under Ron's leadership, I've had the opportunity to witness his passion and determination for Auburn. In 2 short years, some would say long, Ron has led this city through historic highs and lows. No other mayor of Auburn has had to take part in the services for a police officer killed in the line of duty, witness the tragic loss of several beloved residents of our community because of a pandemic, lend a hand to our neighbors devastated by storms, or navigated a culture of national and global unrest. Conversely, during Ron's leadership and tenure, we have been named the best place to live in America, top 100 in fact, had a local industry become a key player in the fight against COVID-19, and taken significant action to aid our business community during this pandemic. So as you can see, from Mayor Anders' One Auburn initiative, Ron is forthright in his promise to this community to do this together. And as we enter a season of Thanksgiving, I am thankful and grateful for this city and for Ron's leadership. So tonight, Mayor Anders will share how we are working collectively with you for Auburn's good. It is my honor to introduce to you the Mayor of Auburn, Ron Anders Jr.
Thank you, Beth, and good evening to each one of you. I'm proud to be back in the Gouge Performing Arts Center for my 2nd annual State of the City Address. We are only able to have a few of you here under the current social distancing guidelines, but thank each and every one of you for being in attendance, as well as to everyone streaming this live or watching it later. Last year, I began by telling you how unexpected and challenging 2019 had been for the City of Auburn. I talked about how we came together as a community after the Lee County tornadoes and the tragic loss of a police officer. Frankly, a year ago, I hoped that I would stand before you tonight to talk about the state of the city in a year where things were back to normal. But 2020 has been anything but normal. As I look at the audience, I see a very different sight than last year. Instead of a large crowd of over 600, we have less than 100 here in person, with safety precautions in place, because this year, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. In response, we've endured lockdowns and social distancing, and we have worn masks. We have missed gathering with our friends and family so that we can protect one another. We have hit the pause button on our economy, locally, nationally, and worldwide. Some of us have lost loved ones, and others have lost their livelihoods. As a community, COVID-19 has taken from us former Auburn firefighter and Lee County Commissioner Johnny Lawrence. We will miss his smiling face and those great conversations. We'll miss seeing him on the sidelines with his camera, and we'll miss seeing him behind the wheel of the military Jeep in the Christmas parade. This year, we also lost Presidential Medal of Honor recipient Command Sergeant Major Benny Atkins. Benny was recognized as Auburn's distinguished veteran at the 2016 Mayor's Memorial Day Breakfast, an event that we were unable to hold this year due to the pandemic. Benny will soon be laid to rest alongside his wife in the Arlington National Cemetery. One of our giants had COVID-19 this year, Coach Pat Dye. While Coach Dye's experience with the coronavirus was asymptomatic, we lost him due to other health issues. Coach Dye was a formidable man with a big heart who didn't just bring championships to Auburn, he brought us our pride back. In his retirement, Coach Dye continued to pour himself into Auburn and gave so much back to our community. His legacy is a light that will shine for a long time to come. Several of those elected to represent us in Montgomery have experienced the COVID-19 virus. Hardest hit was Senator Randy Price, husband of Lee County Revenue Commissioner Oline Price, who also had COVID-19. Randy won a long and serious battle with the virus after an extended hospital stay. Randy, we're happy that your recovery continues. Thank you and Oline for your service to Lee County residents, and to our entire Lee County delegation, Senators Price and Whatley, Representatives Lovern, Warren, Gray, Wood, and Blackshear. Thank you for representing us at the state level and for everything that you do in and for Auburn and Lee County. And to those here and at home, we've all been affected by this virus. I've only named a few of the many who have been ill or lost among us. Alabama Department of Public Health currently reports 65 confirmed deaths from COVID-19 in Lee County so far. My condolences to all of you who have lost family or friends to COVID-19 this year. But the worst pandemic in a century was not the only hallmark of 2020. This year also brought social unrest unlike any we have seen in generations. In response to what has happened in our nation, I have engaged Auburn in a community-wide conversation called One Auburn to help strengthen the bonds between us. Through One Auburn, we've engaged in an initiative called One Read. I'm thankful to everyone who participated in book clubs and discussions so that we can better understand and communicate with one another. We've also engaged in the One Conversation series, where I've brought you interviews with individuals in our community whose stories can help us all relate. I hope each of you are having your own conversations throughout our city. I'm passionate about One Auburn because I believe that our diversity is not divisive. It is part of our strength. And together, regardless of individual differences, we are a passionate and resilient community. Together, we stand to face our challenges, including any division among us. We have stood together to get through what 2019 and 2020 have brought. And we stand together today to prepare for whatever the future may bring. It is what we have always done and what we will continue to do, because we are, indeed, One Auburn. I'm proud of what our city management and staff have accomplished in 2020, undeterred by the pandemic. City employees have worked tirelessly and selflessly, putting themselves and their families at risk for their community, while making sure that city services have continued without interruption. Even at the height of the quarantine, the city picked up our trash, policed our neighborhoods, responded to calls for service, and maintained our infrastructure. When city lobbies were closed to the public, staff remained available to us and helped answer our questions on the phone and online. Throughout the pandemic, safety has been a priority. Office and lobby spaces were sanitized on a daily basis. Under the direction of the city's newly hired emergency management director, the Public Safety Department formed a multi-departmental COVID-19 task force to coordinate the city's pandemic response. There are so many examples of that response that I could cite, from daily sanitation to the over 800 virtual meetings that have been held. City employees innovated to use technology to offer beloved programs online, like library story times and Parks and Rec exercise classes. The response to City Market's curbside edition was incredible, with staff working to fulfill nearly 300 orders from a dozen area farms for a drive-through version of the market. Parks and Recreation also began a senior wellness check-in program to help alleviate the toll of social isolation on Auburn seniors during the pandemic. Along the way, your local government understood that some in the Auburn community needed extra time to meet their obligations. Deadlines were extended for payment of utility bills and taxes. The Waterworks Board of the City of Auburn promised that your family's water would not be cut off and no late fee would be charged if you needed more time to pay. Downtown parking was free for the entire time that Auburn University was closed for the pandemic. Employees whose work has been interrupted took on other tasks to help the city with safety protocols. For example, the Auburn Public Library, while it was closed to the public for a period of time, kept working daily as a resource call center, a one-stop shop for residents with questions about city services during the pandemic. And your city government didn't forget about businesses in all of this. Small businesses are the backbone of our community, and I know many local businesses have struggled this year as people spent less money at restaurants and other brick-and-mortar businesses. That's why the Auburn City Council approved the Working Capital Loan Interest Subsidy Program during a special called meeting in March in an effort to bring some relief to local business owners. The program gives the city the potential to infuse up to $4 million of working capital into Auburn's businesses, with more than 18 of them taking advantage of the program to date. The Development Services team also organized a business resources page on the city's website to assist local businesses and guide them through the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. On the industry side, the city's Economic Development Department worked hard to help those who may have lost their job as a result of the virus and industry closings. They hosted job fairs to help connect workers to local industries and launched a workforce action center that assisted individuals seeking to file for unemployment benefits. The Workforce Action Center ran through mid-May and helped 350 individuals. After 2 industries closed this past year, the Economic Development team swiftly recruited 2 new companies to come to our city and occupy the vacant facilities. Staff were able to not only regain the number of jobs that had been lost, but actually increase the job number so that they are now higher than they were in January before COVID hit. As of October, our Economic Development team has brought 638 industry jobs to our community, with a net gain of nearly 200 jobs so far this year. That is an incredible accomplishment for Auburn, and I commend the staff's hard work and the dedication to the sustainability and the growth of our industrial parks. The staff has also done an incredible job growing a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem and boosting innovative manufacturing technologies in collaboration with the Auburn University College of Engineering. 2 programs stand out. The first is the Additive Manufacturing Accelerator, a technology-based program that uplifts manufacturers and entrepreneurs and promotes the use of additive manufacturing, known as 3D printing. The second is the Auburn Advanced Manufacturing Training Center, which provides space for training the city's workforce in advanced manufacturing. Despite the difficult times of the past year, Auburn did see a particularly notable industry success. SiO2 Material Science, a company located in Auburn Technology Park West, reached a $143 million agreement with the federal government in June to accelerate the company's production of packaging for storing COVID-19 vaccines and therapeutics. Several of the city's job fairs help recruit for SiO2 as they ramp up production. This Auburn industry will have a major global impact in combating the coronavirus, and it will have a major local impact as it invests $163 million in an expansion to its Auburn facility and creates 220 new jobs. This thriving new industry is an amazing resource to have right here in our community. I am incredibly grateful for the leadership shown by the East Alabama Medical Center. They have kept us well informed on the safety precautions being taken and on how the virus is affecting their operations and our community. I commend our healthcare workers on the front lines of this health crisis, our nurses, our doctors, the EMTs. Every day, you are putting your health second to those you treat, and as a community, we are forever grateful and indebted to you. I'd like to take a moment right now to recognize those healthcare workers with a round of applause. Auburn, your support of our healthcare and emergency workers has been amazing. You have dropped off meals and snacks for nurses and doctors to show appreciation and help them through long shifts, as well as to the city's fire and police staff. Through your support and your behavior, you have helped us to stay healthy, and you have helped us to stay open. You have also worked to help those in our community who fell on hard times during the pandemic. Through our local nonprofits, we came together to make a real difference in the lives of local families. The United Way of Lee County distributed more than $26,000 to meet critical housing and utility needs. The Food Bank of East Alabama set up a contact-free drive-through to assist with hunger needs. And when our schools temporarily closed last spring after the pandemic hit our town, the Food Bank, the Auburn Dream Center, and the Auburn City Schools quickly banded together to hand out meal boxes to students and their families. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Lee County also provided lunches and snacks to children when schools shut down, and many nonprofits offered virtual programming to reach those that they serve. Those are just a few of examples of how you have put each other's needs at the forefront. You have demonstrated, again and as always, the resilience of the Auburn family, of which I am proud to be a part of and grateful to lead. Because of that resilience, we got a lot done in 2020, even with the COVID-19 in the way. Let me take you through your local government's work this year by the numbers. City staff repaired 122 potholes and 302 yards of sidewalks. They collected 12,610 bags of litter along 4,943 miles of roadway and swept over 8,000 tons of debris off the roads. Environmental Services recycled 2,819 tons of materials, collected almost 16,000 tons of garbage, and picked up almost 14,000 tons of yard waste. Staff issued 1,142 permits for a wide range of small to large building projects with a total value of $489 million. And city inspectors completed 20,979 inspections. Those permits tell us that our community has grown by over 600 new single-family homes in fiscal year 2020. And staff have also seen the permits for 45 new commercial buildings in this year. The city spent $28 million on capital improvement projects and saw the completion of a $30 million state-of-the-art public safety building. The opening of the public safety building is the city's biggest accomplishment for 2020, and I mean that in the most literal sense. It is a 3-story, 69,549 square foot facility that houses the Auburn Police Division, Auburn Fire Station No. 1, the Emergency Management and Communications Department, including the 911 call center and the Auburn Municipal Court. This building has pulled the city's police, fire, and judicial facilities, as well as the council chambers, from the 1970s into the 21st century, and gives the city the opportunity to be even more competitive when recruiting new officers. If you take a drive through town, you'll find other improvement projects staff completed in fiscal year 2020. They include a number of streetscape improvements such as those to Wright Street, which was converted into a 2-way road toward the beginning of this fiscal year, and improvements to South College Street in front of the Auburn University parking deck. Improvements were also made in the form of medians and landscaping in front of our current location, the Googe Performing Arts Center. This area of town with the Performing Arts Center and the Jewel Collins Smith Museum of Fine Art is a gateway into Auburn's core, as well as an arts district in the making. Work also began on Phase 4 of New Opelika Road, which will serve as a catalyst for further revitalization of that roadway. Phase 4 brings improvements to the section of Opelika Road between Gentry Drive and Sagahatchee Road. These are just a few examples of how your local government is committed to infrastructure improvements to support not only the growth and development, but the redevelopment of vital areas of our town. 2020 has brought us the Auburn Public Library's outdoor classroom, as well as the Indian Pines Skate Park, a joint venture with our sister city from Opelika. We have seen renovations at the Boykin Community Center and the Frank Brown Recreation Center. At Boykin, improvements have included not only much-needed parking, but the construction of a clinic with a pharmacy, waiting room, and exam rooms. This clinic is a result of a partnership with Auburn University School of Pharmacy to bring more accessible health care to our community. Ongoing initiatives include the comprehensive traffic study as city works to try to improve traffic flow in Auburn. Staff and the City Council have heard what you've said about traffic and the coordination of traffic signals, and they are working to make traffic flow as efficient as possible. The traffic study is helping identify the intersections that need the most help as employees work to make Auburn's traffic signals smarter and more dynamic. The goal over time is for traffic signals to be based not on timing, but on traffic. The traffic study has led to infrastructure improvement projects. To name a few, work is being done to widen Cox Road from Fieldview Drive to near Wire Road. And a roundabout will be built at the intersection of Cox and Wire Roads to make the intersection safer for drivers. Safety and aesthetic improvements are also being made to the busy intersection of North College Street, East University Drive, and Shug Jordan Parkway. A number of projects currently underway will fulfill critical needs in this community. The city is breaking ground this month on Fire Station No. 6 to be located on Farmville Road and serve the growing number of homes in our northern quadrant of our town. The station should be completed around this time next year. Another major project that has been a long time in coming is a public parking deck in downtown Auburn. Patrons of downtown have seen this structure rise in between Wright Street and North College Street over the past few months. The deck is expected to be completed next year and will bring about 350 parking spaces to the heart of Auburn. And a new well is being added to the city's water sources, increasing the city's water supply by 4 million gallons a day. The FY 2021 and 2022 budgets include capital investments of millions of dollars for implementing the Northwest Auburn Neighborhood Plan, with almost $25 million slated for Northwest Auburn improvements over the course of the city's 6-year capital improvements plan. Upcoming road projects for Northwest Auburn are proposed to include improvements to North Donahue Drive to ease traffic congestion and improve traffic flow along Donahue Drive from Bragg Avenue to Cary Drive. Northwest Auburn improvements also include a major renovation to the Boykin campus, which will necessitate the relocation of the Public Works and Environmental Services Department to make way for a museum, a gymnasium, indoor and outdoor pools, and a new branch library as part of a larger Boykin campus. In preparation for the branch library, the Auburn Public Library will soon introduce a self-checkout machine to be placed in the Boykin Community Center lobby, along with a hold shelf where readers can pick up books they have requested. The city will also continue to implement the Parks and Recreation Cultural Master Plan over the next 2 years. Projects include an inclusive playground at Town Creek Park, renovations to the Jan Dempsey Community Arts Center, and the expansion of the Auburn Soccer Complex. As you can imagine, city staff have been keeping a cautious eye on the city's budget in the age of COVID-19. Although budgeted revenue in 2021 is conservative and accounts for the possibility of lower than normal revenues in the fall, Auburn's performance in 2020 and healthy general fund reserves allow the city to proceed with planned capital projects. As we move through the year, the city's finance department monitors revenue, and if there are any significant changes, we will regroup and reprioritize to ensure the general fund remains fiscally sound. City staff all work hard to be good stewards of your tax dollars and the city's revenue. Now, the city is not the only entity moving game-changing projects forward. With the growth and success of Auburn as a destination, 2020 has seen other projects break ground, like Auburn University's Rain Culinary Science Center, which will be a tremendous asset for our community. A new medical facility is underway with a freestanding emergency department, ambulatory surgery center, and radiology services in Auburn's Research Park. The city committed $2 million toward the infrastructure for the new facility that will open next year and be operated by East Alabama Medical Center. Plans are moving forward for projects downtown as well, with a new urban grocery store and the redevelopment of Auburn Bank that will revitalize sections of our downtown. Growth in the private sector brings success to our city, and I want to take a moment to celebrate our businesses, which have had to navigate unprecedented waters this year, and our local Chamber of Commerce, which has been quick to keep businesses abreast of state mandates during the pandemic and offer tools and resources to owners. We've worked closely with the Chamber as it began its Keep Auburn Open campaign and continue to remind all of us to shop Auburn. In a recent conversation with Auburn Chamber of Commerce President Lolly Steiner, she spoke of the resilience and the ingenuity of the small business community, with many totally revamping their business models during the health crisis to better serve its patrons. Restaurants responded to the challenges of COVID-19 by altering menus to add boxed lunches and cocktail kits, family meals, and take and bake options, all of which could be ordered and picked up curbside to keep contact at a minimum. Retailers adapted inventory to fit changing demands and prioritized a stronger virtual presence to reach its customers. As businesses adapted, the AO Tourism Bureau worked alongside the Auburn Chamber to inform the community about food and shopping adjustments. We know Auburn is a destination for so many, but during this pandemic, AO Tourism took to heart that it is our community that makes us a destination, working to help our residents and businesses connect and checking in with our local stakeholders, partners, sometimes even on a daily basis. Businesses also implemented measures to keep employees and shoppers safe. Law offices set up tents around town to conduct socially distanced business in the fresh air. Downtown merchants collaborated with Auburn University's campaign, A Healthier You, and posted signs and social distancing markers at their storefronts to help us safely enjoy our time downtown. Our local businesses have survived because of hard work and innovation, and they have survived because the community has supported them. As football season continues, Auburn may not have the number of visitors we are used to having, but locals are coming out to support our businesses and see them through. College students are also a big source of support for us, and we are glad to have them back on campus. Our relationship with Auburn University continues to thrive with numerous partnerships that make our city better, some of which I have mentioned here tonight. The city and the university are consistently working on projects and programs to carry us into the future and enhance the opportunities and quality of life here in Auburn. It is our partnerships, like those with the Auburn University Regional Airport and the Auburn Research and Technology Foundation, which is located in the Auburn Research Park, that make me excited about what we can accomplish together. And just as important are the deep relationships that are fostered by the almost constant communication between city departments and university staff. That flow of communication helps our city run smoothly and efficiently and keeps us connected in a vital way. Another success story is our city school system, which continues to grow in students and in stature. This school year, a record high 8,961 students are enrolled in Auburn City Schools, which is one of the fastest growing systems in Alabama. This year, students of Cary Woods Elementary and J.F. Drake Middle School attended classes in new academic buildings that were recently completed in line with the school system's facilities master plan. As mayor, I'm proud of the consistent financial support of Auburn City Schools by city councils over the years. Our public school system is growing because it is the kind of school system that parents want for their kids. For Auburn City Schools to start school year on time and to open its classrooms safely while also providing remote learning opportunities for students is something to be celebrated. It would seem the pandemic has only strengthened the relationships that make our school system so successful. Teachers have gone beyond and above normal duties to connect with students and parents. And principals have managed and maintained campuses while collecting accurate data regarding any COVID-19 cases within the schools. And the 2020 Auburn High graduates, we have much to be proud of. We know you faced obstacles when schools closed last spring, but it would seem your futures are all very bright. With more than 61% of you earning scholarships, amounting to $18.2 million. The quality of our schools is just one of the things that helps outsiders see Auburn for what we all know it to be. In 2020, the city of Auburn was ranked as one of the best cities for working families by Zippia, as one of the best small cities to start a business by chamberofcommerce.org, and was one of 2 Alabama cities to be ranked as a top place to live by Livability. Safewise.com also recognized Auburn on its list of the safest cities in Alabama. Auburn's economy, educational system, community engagement, and charm consistently put us on the map and are the reasons why so many people want to raise a family here or return for their retirements. As City Manager Jim Buston said during a recent council work session, the citizens of Auburn expect perfection, but will settle for excellence. These recognitions make us proud and drive us to keep working to make the quality of life in Auburn the best it can be. We know you expect nothing less from your mayor and your city council, and we expect nothing less from our city manager. City Manager Jim Buston will retire on January the 31st. He has met this standard. Jim joined the City of Auburn management team at the request of former City Manager Doug Watson to create the city's information technology department. 25 years later, we're about to wish him well as he retires as Auburn's 4th city manager under the council manager form of government. Jim may have stayed longer than he intended, but Auburn is better for it. During Jim's tenure as city manager, Auburn's industry sector flourished. City departments were reorganized for enhanced communication and teamwork, and things like customer service, efficiency, quality of infrastructure, and community appearance were prioritized in the biennial budgets he brought to the council for consideration. I'm grateful for Jim, and I will miss his counsel, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize him with a round of applause. Jim has been very intentional about preparing the city for a changing of the guard. We have long been aware that we have a number of department heads and key positions eligible for retirement, and we've seen several of those retirements during Jim's tenure. Jim leaves us with a capable and diverse management staff that is ready to take on the future. They will be led by Megan McGowan Crouch, who will become city manager effective February 1. She has been preparing for this role throughout her 23 years with the City of Auburn. Megan has worked in the city's planning and economic development departments in a number of roles where she was heavily involved with industrial recruitment and commercial development. Over her 18 years in economic development, she was involved in the team that recruited 50 industrial projects that generated more than $1.1 billion in capital investment. It created 4,460 jobs. She has worked across departments to formulate and implement plans that guide our city's growth to this day, including the Comp Plan 2030, Renew Opelika Road, and the Downtown Master Plan. While her resume is certainly impressive, what makes Megan so successful is her passion, her work ethic, and her deep knowledge of Auburn's past and present, which informs her vision for our future. I firmly believe that there is no better choice with the experience, professionalism, and heart that Megan will bring as she leads the City of Auburn into this new decade and beyond. So Megan, here's to 23 more years. I'm proud to work alongside you for the betterment of this great community. I'm looking forward to what we will accomplish in 2021 and beyond. This spring, a year later than we planned to, thanks to COVID-19, we will embark on the Auburn 2040 plan, a community-led initiative to envision our home in 20 years. We will work together through 8 teams and examine topics vital to our city's prosperity and future, a future in which it is estimated Auburn will reach a population of 100,000 people. I'll be meeting with our team captains again soon, and we are currently planning to kick off Auburn 2040 together on April the 10th, 2021. You can learn more about this initiative at auburnalabama.org/2040. I'm excited for us to come together to build the community we want to live in. This is but one way you can be involved in shaping and changing Auburn for the better. It is amazing to live in a community where the problem with an initiative like Auburn 2040 is not how to find people willing to participate. The bigger challenge is how to keep it from growing too large, because the Auburn family is engaged and involved in their community. More than 120 Auburn residents currently serve on our 22 boards and commissions. We have so many in our community who selflessly act as servant leaders for our common good and who put energy into making Auburn better each and every day. Last year, I recognized 6 such members of our community with the Mayor's Lamplighter Awards to signify the lights that they shine in our community. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to another set of individuals who make Auburn a better place. As I call your name, would you please come forward to receive your recognition? As I said last year, a favorite story that a former pastor of mine, Rick Stark, told me. The famous author, Robert Louis Stevenson, would never go to sleep when he was a little boy. His mom never understood why he was standing upstairs and he wouldn't go to bed, and so one night she slipped up behind him and looked in the door. And Robert was looking outside, and she came up behind him and watched to see what he was looking at, and he was watching the lamplighter quietly go through his community and light the lamp so people could safely walk in the night. Tonight we'll recognize 6 people who quietly light the lamps for our city here in Auburn. One of the greatest traditions in college football is the flight of the eagle in Jordan-Hare Stadium. The eagle, a majestic symbol for our country, a symbol of freedom and independence. Our first lamplighter has been a relentless servant. She says what needs to be done, well, let's get it done. Give her a spreadsheet and she can move mountains. As a mother of 2 children with special needs, she has moved mountains every day to provide a normal life for them and to support her other child and her husband, who owns his own practice. During this time, she found space to plan and organize the 75th reunion of her sorority, as well as take on the responsibility to assist a local organizer of the Alabama Super 7 by overseeing the marching band and cheerleaders of every single participating school. The Eagles program at Auburn University is a comprehensive post-secondary transition opportunity for students with intellectual disabilities. The program focuses on academic enrichment, independence, employment, preparation, social development, and health and wellness. Every new venture needs support. This Lamplighter has cheered for all things Auburn all of her life. She assisted with the creation of the Eagles Foundation to provide opportunities for any student who wanted to attend the Eagles program. Through these efforts that she cheered for, scholarships are now available and a technology center has been opened. But the goals are greater, so the effort continues to endow scholarships for any student who wants to be a part of the Eagles program. As a former Auburn cheerleader, cheering for her alma mater was once her role. Today, as a mom, she has cheered for her children and those like them to soar on wings like eagles. Just as the prophet Isaiah reminded the Israelites of God's care for them, our first Lamplighter has shown many of us her dedication to her family, to her friends, and to the students of the Eagles program. Our first Lamplighter is Miss Katie Ann Baston. How much time does it take to make a city beautiful? The effort to keep Auburn beautiful is ongoing and every day. The Auburn Beautification Council's mission statement says we are a nonprofit, volunteer organization dedicated to a cleaner, healthier, safer, and more beautiful Auburn. One of my favorite aspects of downtown and its beautiful hanging baskets. Always blooming, always communicating that Auburn is a unique village. In their early years, these baskets were nurtured by well-meaning members of our community. But what a difficult chore that was. With an inventory of 18 baskets, the Auburn Beautification Council decided in 2006 that they needed some help. So they assigned the well-being of a part of our city's charm to tonight's second Lamplighter. Soon there were 18 baskets, and then there were 20, and today there are 35 plus 2 large urns at the entrance of City Hall. This task is every day, all year. During the summer months, she waters each basket twice a day. 35 baskets, 2 times a day, every day. Have you seen her? Dragging her water container around town, often on a ladder, sweating profusely, but always determined to take care of Auburn's baskets. Her attitude could be summed up in this quote: "I do occasionally have a lizard leap out of the baskets. When one lands on me, I'll be screaming. Other than that, it's a day in the sunshine." Watering 35 baskets every day, sometimes twice, nurturing the countenance of our city. Isn't it a warm feeling to know that the caretaker of our baskets thinks that this is just a day in the sunshine? She says, "I love what I do, though it's hard work. I truly feel I get to contribute a little to the loveliness that is Auburn's downtown." Our next Lamplighter is Miss Colleen Jennings. Our next Lamplighter has the following quote in his bio: "Each contact is a teachable moment." As we consider the example of a contact most of us would see as a brief moment, a moment not unlike the tens and hundreds of contacts all of us have each and every day. Our next Lamplighter has had a career of contacts. The difference in his contacts versus most is the investment he makes in all the people that he contacts. See, his contacts are truly teachable moments because of his passion for those he is in contact with. A recent student from Auburn University wrote this email to me. He is much more to me and to others than just an advisor. He is a spiritual advisor and a loving friend. The impact he's had on my life in this campus is astronomical, is too astronomical to put into words. His love for Auburn runs much deeper than your typical love for sports. His diehard passion for academia and assuring that everyone feels a part of the Auburn family, no matter your social economic status. He remains committed to empowering every student that he encounters. He specifically wants to find out what makes them tick. He immediately uses his wealth of knowledge and deep-rooted resources to help assure that he can help students achieve their goals. It is not unusual for him to drop what he is doing, and share his faith in his leadership advice. He truly wants to uplift everyone he encounters. As the longtime medical director of the Auburn University Medical Clinic, our next Lamplighter has been a primary contact for thousands of students, faculty, and staff at Auburn University. He has spent his career helping those students who are away from home understand their health care. There is no telling how many parents he has spent countless hours with on the phone. Recently, he has overseen the response to a pandemic from a university that is trying to provide a normal course of education for its students. Weekly, he has provided updates as to the status of the virus among the campus, none of them sugar-coated. To me, he has been an honest sounding board as we've navigated a world which none of us have ever experienced. But his work only reflected his servant's heart. As he takes care of our bodies as his vocation, he spends his free time assisting the hearts and minds and souls of Auburn students. Just as he said, each contact is a teachable moment. Our next Lamplighter is Dr. Fred Cam. Asylum, a unique word that sounds dramatic. It's used to describe the actions of those who are physically leaving all that they have ever known to come to a place that they know nothing about. These people are courageous and desperate in the same instance. In 1980, our next Lamplighter left her home country and arrived in the United States as a young girl. Later, a family member who lived locally encouraged her to come to our community to raise her family, and she has done that. In 2016, the Esperanza House was founded. This is a ministry that seeks to improve the quality of life for low-income Hispanic children. Currently, there are over 75 families with over 200 children being served. There are also over 600 college students assisting. Tutoring is a big part of their ministry, what their ministry does each and every day, but that's certainly not all. Feeding is supported with a partnership through the Food Bank of East Alabama. Food boxes are distributed that also include cleaning supplies and items for personal hygiene. A back-to-school event is held where backpacks are filled with school supplies, and this year that included a new pair of shoes. Fees for school activities are supported when available. Health screenings, medical and dental needs are met whenever possible. Quarterly clothing, toy, and book drives are organized in support of the children of the Esperanza House. Summer is not a time to take off as feeding programs commences and support for the children to attend many summer camps also commences. Once arriving in a foreign country protected by political asylum, that was 40 years ago. Today, she is leading a ministry that conveys trust and hope in a promising future. I imagine that was the same trust and promise that young girl was seeking when she arrived in our country in 1980. Our next Lamplighter is Miss Odalis Silvera. The term white hat was derived from old Western movies in which the hero, the good guy, always wore a white hat. Webster's even defined the white hat as one who is admirable, honorable, the mark of goodness. Our next lamplighter personifies all that is described in a person wearing a white hat. Humble but aspirational is a quote from a coworker and a friend. He wants the best for all those he works for without the recognition of his efforts. As a young man raised in Milltown, Alabama, graduating from Chambers County High School and called Pete, he was a graduate of Jacksonville State, and then he came to work in Lee County for Lee County Youth Development. That was in 1984. Since that time, he has spent 23 years in the United States Reserves and is now retired. He has served his community on the Parks and Rec Advisory Board and the City of Auburn Planning Commission. He went through Leadership Lee County, worked with the Greater Peace Development Corporation, and served PACE. Currently, he's the president of Auburn City Schools Board of Education. He is a great husband and a father of two great children. His son was the SGA vice president at Auburn University, and his daughter attends the United States Military Academy in West Point. And the white hat, well, that's another tie-in to our next lamplighter. He is one of Alabama's very best high school football officials, the head official, the man in the white hat. What he does is not easy. He works in very difficult situations where emotion is primary and common sense is sometimes secondary. But he is there, making circumstances better because he listens, because he cares, and because he is brave enough to dig in. He wears the white hat for all of Auburn's children, for all of Auburn's citizens. Our next lamplighter is Mr. Charles Smith. Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Mary Angelou said that when you learn, teach. When you get, give. Our next lamplighter has a career of vocational and career accomplishments. Recently recognized as the Lee County Association Realtor of the Year, as well as recently serving as president of the Lee County Association of Realtors. She has been a chairperson of the Auburn Beautification Council, served on the City of Auburn's Board of Zoning and Adjustments, and served as chair of the Auburn Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. But we're not here tonight to recognize her for all of those accomplishments. Recently, when a need was presented, she stepped in to become the president of the board of the Auburn Opelika Habitat for Humanity. During a difficult time for all nonprofits, she is driving ahead with a capital campaign to provide the services of Habitat to all of those in our community. According to Mark Grantham, the executive director of the Auburn Opelika Habitat, this has been a difficult year for us. But she helps us look at ways we can still be successful when we cannot do some of the things that we normally would do. She helps us find success. As a longtime member of the finance team at St. Michael's Catholic Church, she is called by Father Michael Farmer an effervescent personality, filled with joy and optimism. Her trust in God and her trust in people is admirable. She has a giving heart, and she deeply loves her community. We do make a life by what we give. She has the gift of hospitality, not just inviting people over to eat with her, but always sending them home with the leftovers for extra meals. She also uses her gift of hospitality to pour wisdom into young realtors. At these moments, she shares her life's journey to all those who have entered her home who desire to make a career in real estate. They learn to be tough and not to waste time and to set goals. Yes, when you learn, you teach. This lady was so committed to being Mrs. Claus that her granddaughter's friends really believed that she lived on the North Pole. As her granddaughter has said about Nani, helping others is about a heart return, not about recognition. She is a force, and a force for those she serves, and fortunately for us, a force for Auburn. Our final lamplighter is Miss Karen Turner. Thank all of you for being here tonight. I want to take the time to thank the people from the Googe Performing Arts Center for all their assistance to make this happen tonight. I want to thank the public affairs team from the City of Auburn doing an outstanding job to prop me up and help me be here with you tonight and deliver all these words to you. Thank you, Rachel, for your assistance again. Thank you to our great community. Auburn truly is a great place. It's been a tough 6 months, but we have a great place to live and we're mighty blessed to be here. This concludes our program. I hope all of you have a great week. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mindy Street, Director of Development at the J and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. This fall, the Googe Center launched its Intermission Fund, a new campaign to help support our innovative virtual programs and online engagement opportunities. Many of these programs, like our K-12 virtual school performances, our Talk Back Thursday conversation series, and GPAC Live, were created especially for you to keep you connected to the Googe Center and to the performing arts during these unprecedented times. By giving to the Intermission Fund, you can have a direct and meaningful impact on these programs and help continue our mission to celebrate and share the performing arts with audiences until we're able to reunite here at the Googe Center. To make your gift to the Intermission Fund, visit our website at googecenter.auburn.edu. You can also visit aub.ie/intermission. That's aub.ie/intermission. On behalf of everyone at the Googe Center, I'd like to thank you for watching and for your continued support for the arts at Auburn.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Collette, Development Officer at the J and Susie Googe Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. If you've seen a performance at the Walter Stanley and Virginia Catherine Evans Waltos Theater, you know there isn't a bad seat in the house. But we like to think the very best seat is the one with your name on it. With an investment of $2,000, you can add your name to a seat right here in the beautiful Waltos Theater. Your customized seat plaque will forever connect you to this landmark venue and serve as a lasting testament to your support for the arts at Auburn. And if you're looking for a great holiday gift this season, seats can be inscribed to honor friends and family members, to memorialize loved ones, or to celebrate Auburn alumni, graduates, and fellow classmates. Ready to name a seat and leave a legacy? Visit our website today at googecenter.auburn.edu. You can also visit aub.ie/intermission aub.ie/GPAC seat. That's aub.ie/GPAC seat.